like anybody in your house? Is everybody broke?
No, I'm not. Can I have some ready?
So, if you answer a question right, I may give you a piece of candy. So, what? What do you think they're about? Well, there will be questions about that, but
Just confirmation stuff.
confirmation stuff.
Can we use our notes?
So, one. What are the names of all four? You have to raise your name hands, not call these out. What is the name of all four Gospels? That was Brody's hand was up way before everybody else.
But can he answer it?
Can you answer the name of the four Gospels?
Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John.
Good catch. Can I tell? Yes. Can I tell Trey is the hands of the family?
No, I didn't think I got it right.
Oh, okay.
Cade would disagree though.
So, how many sacraments are there in the Lutheran Church? Mariana.
Bro.
Here, I'm going to let people choose. Just quickly, though. How many requirements are there for something to be considered a
Bro,
sacrament?
put your notes away.
Mariana, rolling. No notes.
Cheating.
Two.
Hey, like everyone knows their notes away. Notes away. It's not like you're gonna get it right. Yeah, I know.
What are those requirements? Cody, you have your hand up still. So, what are the requirements for something to be a sacrament?
One of them is that it has to be commanded by Christ.
And I'm not going to call on somebody until they've answered. So,
I was gonna say what he said. It has a physical element.
a physical element. All right. What is one of the sacraments?
No.
Understood the question. I didn't even hear what was it.
What is the other one? Well, I can't even tell who did it. Just call
That's a
out.
requirement.
Communion.
Communion.
They're trying.
Where
Yeah, 100%.
did Jesus live for most of his life?
Jerusalem.
That is incorrect. Mr.
You got 6 girls
That is
today.
correct.
Is that what we have?
Nazareth.
I'm close.
Can anybody else name one other place that Jesus lived for an extended period of
I guess
time?
we'll excuse her for that. Yeah, I guess we'll have to.
Carson.
It's gonna be a lot easier doing this when you drive.
Uh,
Basketball
I will
practice
give it
tonight,
to
too.
you. Technically, it was just kind of like
It's
roaming
that.
around. He didn't
Everybody
technically
else is being
live
different
there.
places
Desert.
all at the same time.
No,
40 years. Bro.
40 days.
What was the question?
Where is someplace else that Jesus lived besides Nazareth for an extended portion of his life?
Are we just throwing out any city?
Bro.
Not Earth, name.
Bro.
He did, because he was what? Born in Bethlehem.
Oh,
What is the
Jackson
only
with the
place
win.
that Surely we know Jesus lived.
Israel.
What? No, he did not live in Babylon. The answer is
Judea.
Egypt.
No, I think you don't think you were close.
Like after he was born in Bethlehem, they were like, Herod's gonna kill you, and so Joseph took him and his family, and probably he lived there probably till he was about 7 or 8 years old, they believe. He lived in Egypt. And then finally he said, oh, Herod's dead, you can come back. And then they went back and they moved to Nazareth, and that's where he stayed until he was roughly 30 years old. We'll ask some more questions. What? Yes, many hundreds of years before Jesus was born. They were jerks to them. So, we're going to talk this week. If you remember, last week I told you we were talking about ordination, but there was a scheduling conflict that came up, so we had to adjust. So we're going to talk about, that's not going to help me. We're going to talk about the church seasons. What is your favorite? Can you tab that whenever? question. What is your favorite church season? And what is your favorite season of the year?
Christmas.
Christmas is
Summer.
not a
You
season.
don't have school.
There are 4 seasons, right?
Summer. You don't have
Why is
school.
summer your favorite?
Because you don't have school.
You don't have school.
Summer.
Why?
No school.
No school. Oh, goodness. Carson. Winter. Why is winter your favorite? Because Christmas.
Snow.
Annalise. Fall. Any reason in particular? Because it's creepy. That's okay. Yes. Baseball season. Got it. Yep. Cody.
Fall, because it looks cool, and also because it's the only season where there's 2 major holidays.
Okay.
Arguably,
Obviously, you could argue summer.
Arguably,
like
obviously.
4th of July and like Labor Day. You are correct.
I like how he had that.
So,
Arguably, obviously.
here is a question or a piece of candy.
Oh.
When does the church year begin?
You guys had your hands up before the question was even
Does
asked.
anybody know the answer?
Garrett's standing up. I put my money on
When
Garrett.
does the church year begin?
I don't put my money on either of them.
Mr. Brody.
2012.
Yeah. No, sweetheart, like the year. Like, what's the calendar year for the church?
Oh,
That is incorrect.
Nice job from the back row.
A very specific date and it begins on a specific date. Yes. No, that is a good guess, but that is incorrect. Carson. That is incorrect, but you're getting warmer. Nope. Nope.
Advent?
So, Miss Veruca
Labor Day.
wins.
Yes! Advent, people, Advent.
Advent.
She said Advent.
You said Christmas. Well, okay.
Well, I'm still taking a sucker.
So, the church year, go ahead and go to the next slide, begins with Advent. So we're going to go through the entire year in order. So Advent is the first season of the year. Advent itself is going to begin this year on, I believe it is November 27th, which is the Sunday after Thanksgiving. So, Advent comes to us from the Latin word adventus, which really translates to arrival or coming. How are you taking notes if you do not have paper out?
That's a good question.
Paper, there is notes, because here I will tell you, the homework assignment for this week has lots of questions that will be answered here that you might not know.
Right.
So, Advent comes from the Latin word adventus, which translates into coming or arrival. It is the 4 Sundays preceding Christmas. There are 4 weeks to Advent. This year, it starts on November 20th. Go ahead and tap it. So, what is this called?
You're welcome.
I'm
really gonna be smart
Go back. Maybe they are slow riders. Adventus.
Oh.
Literally translates
He did?
Yes. Arrival.
Oh, I didn't even hear that. Did you push the button? What? Yeah. Is that how we went back the first time? Yeah. Oh, I thought I moved it.
Because we spend 4 weeks preparing for the coming of who?
It went back. And that's why I was like, oh. I didn't even hear that.
We spend 4 weeks preparing for the coming of Jesus Christ.
Wait, it starts November 28th?
Yes. Advent is that quick, that soon here. Like 3.5 weeks. Or 2.5 weeks.
Yeah,
And
they're
then
not
we
very
have 4
bright over
weeks.
there.
You know, so you're like 7 weeks from Christmas, if you haven't figured that out already.
You better start shopping.
Are we good?
Did you buy my No. My full week? No.
Are you close?
Dude, you don't have to write word for word.
Every word. what we're observing during that time, what colors are associated with it, and kind of like when it falls in the year.
You need to clarify if this is a helpful question or not.
Yes, but we can't get through if I have to like spend 20 minutes on every slide. Mr. Brody,
Is this helpful, Brody?
if we don't spend 20 minutes on every slide.
Oh my goodness, get yourself together, sir, and be respectful.
Are you good?
Let chat.
Next slide.
Thank you, Spencer.
What is this called?
Carson. What I meant. I was looking at Spencer when I said it.
So, during the season of Advent, this is actually
Is it a
what our
full moon?
Advent wreath looks like here. How many of you have an Advent wreath at home? At our house, we do it. So every week when we have a meal, we light one of the candles for that week. Is it kind of like Hanukkah? No. We do light stuff, and they do light candles in Hanukkah, but it's for a much different thing. Each week has kind of a different theme and a different reading, and we just use it as a time to gather and talk as a family. Sometimes when we do a reading, I will actually be giving a reading guide to all of your families. Hopefully once a week you might sit down and read through the Christmas story and talk about getting ready for Christmas. Yes, roll it. It technically like Sunday.
Whatever.
The Sunday is usually when we light the new week. Good question. Cody. Good. Awesome.
If that's November,
Okay.
okay, this first week or second week? So
Next
we're not
slide.
halfway.
So when we are observing Advent,
So they're just crazy.
the seasonal color for Advent for many churches is purple or violet. We, in the ELCA, often use blue. But all of those are correct. Because blue and purple don't really go together. They're close to each other. So, we typically, as in the ELCA, use blue because blue is a color of
Probably.
hope.
Like we do that
If
in
you
first
notice on
grade.
the calendar, on the Advent wreath, we have blue candles. So, no one is sure exactly when Advent began. No, there's no like time when they're like, this is where this holiday began. It is roughly about 480 AD. So about 400 and some odd years after Jesus lived and died, we began with this first people preparing for Christmas, doing Advent. So monks would often fast each day of Lent. So of Advent. For 40 days they would fast.
Did you ask a question?
Fasting doesn't necessarily mean you don't eat anything. This means, so like during Ramadan, which is the Muslim tradition of fasting, they don't eat from sunrise to sunset. So they would eat after the sun sets. Or they might fast for a number of days and then eat. That type of thing. They don't starve themselves for 40 days because that's impossible. Yes.
Oh, really?
The Advent calendars do count down towards the coming of, yes. Yes, Cody.
That would be hard.
No one, I can like sniff his face.
Wow. Yours is
No
probably
one
starving.
is sure. Okay? Noon is, yeah. Alright. So that is Advent. Does anybody know what the next season after Advent is? Jackson. You are correct. No, Christmas. Christmas is an actual season of. It is an actual season. Yes, we actually have. It is actually more than just that day. Christmas, usually you think of celebrating it on December 24th and 25th. We actually celebrate, if you go to the next slide, it is actually the 2 Sundays that follow Christmas are also included as the Christmas season. So, which takes us to the next one. So we'll talk about that in a second. So, Christmas Eve worship, the color for Christmas is white or gold.
Not red or green.
No, in the church it is white or gold. Major holidays tend to be white. Why? Because it's a symbol of purity. Gold is only used for two holidays, Easter and Christmas, because they're both directly tied to the life and death of Jesus, who is our King. So we use gold when we are celebrating our King. We'll talk about purple in a little bit. Typically, during the time of Christmas, we sing carols and tell the story of the birth of Jesus. Like I said, Christmas is actually the 2 weeks that follow
I would agree with
Christmas.
you on that.
So it takes you past New Year's. And here, does anybody now know what the next holiday is after Christmas?
Don't call on those two.
No, I actually know.
Yes.
I actually
What? Easter is incorrect. It is a holiday at the very beginning of the year. Yes, Spencer? No, that is incorrect. That is
Oh, for the
incorrect.
love.
What? That is incorrect. That is actually a Christmas holiday.
Brody, are you gonna get it?
Nobody's gonna get it. No.
I don't know. Try.
Is it something so?
No.
Oh Lord.
Next slide.
Bro, this is like this.
Epiphany.
Season is called Epiphany. So, write this down.
It's entertaining at least.
No, sorry. Epiphany. Epiphany. The day of Epiphany there is actually celebrated on a Sunday, but there is an actual physical day that is Epiphany, which is January 6th. The reason I know this is because January 6th is also my wedding anniversary.
Oh, you were you were wedded on
Do you know how the
Epiphany.
song goes, the 12 days of Christmas?
Yep.
Did you realize that the 12 days of Christmas are actually the days after Christmas?
Yeah.
Not leading to Christmas.
Mind
So
blown.
like the song that says, like,
Flag
on the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me a partridge in a pear tree. You get that? And then the second day, third day. Those are actually the
I know.
days
That's exactly what he
after
sounded like.
Christmas. Because there are 12 days between December 25th and January 6th. Because on January 6th, we remember the wise men bringing gifts to Jesus. Does that make sense? So, it is often referred to as the season of lights. Many times we will light up put out as many candles as we can in the sanctuary to make it bright and shiny. I'll ask Casey first. What? Shh. Yeah.
They did like the scene where Jesus, the wise men were giving.
The gifts.
Cadetta.
Technically, we always celebrate, like when you read the Christmas story, they have like the wise men showing up right then. Probably they didn't show up for like a long time after Jesus was actually with us. But we celebrate it on Epiphany, and that is the January 6th. So, yes.
Is there ever too many candles, like for the firemen?
Are there too many candles?
Like, is there like regulation?
No. As long as we're safe about it, there's no regulation in the number of candles we have.
Like 5.
If you were here this past weekend when we had
All
All
Saints.
Saints Day, we had the cross in the middle there, and there was like a ton of. It was. I mean, you could see the heat.
I always feel like there's always ones that fall over too that are a little scary.
So, next slide.
Nope.
The day of Epiphany, we use the color white because it's a major holiday and it's a season of light, so we use white. Until, while the season, which lasts for a number of weeks, after that, we go into the season of Epiphany, which lasts, I don't remember exactly how many weeks, but we'll get to that where it starts. Epiphany lasts until the day before Ash Wednesday, which Ash Wednesday rotates, because Easter rotates. And don't ask me to tell you what the formula is for when Easter is, because it's some weird archaic thing that revolves around when the moons are.
So like Easter's on a different day every year?
Yes.
So what is it on this year?
It's in April this year. Sometimes it's as early as like early March.
When it's
As
cold.
late as like mid-April.
But for real, it's April 1st, my mom keeps
Texting me about
So,
AP testing signups.
on
I don't
the
have
first
service
day of
back here, so I have to
Epiphany,
walk all the
we
way
use
back to
white.
the
The rest of the
entrance.
time we use green. Which goes until Ash Wednesday. Which, can you tell me what the next season is? Lent!
Yay!
Kind of. I'll give it to you.
I have my hand up way before.
Because technically,
This isn't fair. The next one's Easter. This is not fair, so I did.
technically, before we get there, the Sunday before Ash Wednesday is called Transfiguration Sunday. So could you please write that down? Transfiguration Sunday. Before Thanksgiving, before Ash Wednesday. Transfiguration, if you remember the story, Jesus goes up on a mountaintop and he's there and he's talking, he's there on top of the mountain with a couple of the disciples, and Elijah and Moses show up. We're both not alive, right? Because Moses was way back, and Elijah, they show up on the mountain, they talk to him, and the disciples are like, oh man, we should build an altar right here because they're talking to Moses, they're talking to Elijah. And it says that Jesus was transfigured, that he began to glow with this light emanating out from him. The white of his clothes became stark white, and it's called Transfiguration Sunday. What new color do you think we use for Transfiguration Sunday?
Blue. Green.
Brody.
Green and white. Red.
No.
Because the leaves are green.
White. Very good, Brendan. You already got a piece of candy. No?
I said white. He never got a piece of candy. Hey, I said white. I said white. I said green.
You are fine. Put your hand down.
So, the Transfiguration comes to us in Matthew 17, verses 1 through 3. It's also in Mark and Luke. Of course, the color for is white. So, I already said that. So, we'll go ahead and do the next slide. The next season, like was pointed out to us, is Lent. Alright? Like Lent, like Advent, Lent is a season of preparation. Both of them are 40 days long.
40 days.
Why is 40 days important?
Because
40 days in the Bible, whenever you see the number 40, is a symbol that something is about to change. So, and if you go and you start counting, you're like, Lent, like, this month, and you're like, that's too many days in between there. It doesn't count Sundays. Just so you know. Like, in the counting of the 40 days, it does not count the Sundays that fall in there. So, Advent, like Lent, like Advent, is a season of preparation. In this case, we are preparing for Easter. The first day of Lent is Ash Wednesday. Yes, Brody, you have a
I
question?
know the next one.
no, I know the
Hold on. You're getting ahead of yourself. So,
So you're just gonna sit there with his hand up.
Lent.
It's groundhog day.
We will be having Lent like normal again this year,
Yay! With food?
which means we'll have food.
Yes.
And hopefully we'll have the men's world famous fish fry on at the beginning of Lent.
Can we convince them to go like Catholic style and do some like pasta with their fish?
I would be all for that.
Okay.
So,
It's not.
next slide.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, normal fish.
Lent goes until Holy Week. The color for the season is
Purple.
purple.
Purple. Okay.
The color for the season of Lent is purple. Part of that is because it's considered like a mourning color. Part of it is because purple is also a color of royalty, and Jesus is our king.
Oh yeah.
But it's because part of it is because who wants to wear black for 40 days?
Ah!
Right? We don't really want the church to be black for that. So purple is also a color of lamentation, of like preparing the way for like reflecting on where you are and what you want to become. That's why we use the color. Yes. Oh, for Cody. I haven't asked it yet. So,
Yeah, me too.
Easter. You have your hand up early.
one more thing I was going to say about Lent.
You've had it up for like 10 minutes, yo.
Lent. Here's an interesting thing. In the early church, like right after Jesus dies and like the church was just starting, people would normally be baptized on either like the Saturday before Easter or Easter itself. And so Lent was actually the 40 days where they would prepare, go through all of their like beginning to understand what it means to become a Christian. So they would do all this stuff during Lent in preparation for being baptized into the church on Easter. Pretty cool, huh? So I've already given away the next season, of course, is So
Keep going, or
as we get to Easter, there's a lot of weird things that happen with colors and stuff in the church that kind of symbolize. So the Sunday before Easter is called Palm Sunday, right? Where we all get the palm and we like, yay!
I was thinking.
We all raise them, we all go, Hosanna, Hosanna!
Jesus walking with Oh, I love that one.
Yes,
Easter's Eve.
we use the color red during that time. Red is a celebration color. There are a couple other times that we would use red that we're coming up on. But we typically use red. Confirmation, Reformation, yes. So Palm Sunday leads into Holy Week.
go back.
Right. All you have to know is Palm Sunday, the color is red. So then we go for the week. We have a lot of services during Holy Week. Some churches do a service a day, worship service every day. Typically here, we will have our last, we don't have anything on Wednesday. We don't even have confirmation typically, because if we're doing the Seder, we just come and we prepare for the Seder meal, which is on Thursday. The big key holidays of Holy Week are Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Thursday, which I didn't put up there, it's called Maundy Thursday. Maundy Thursday.
You had it on there somewhere, that one.
Oh, Lent goes into Holy Week, typically Maundy Thursday. The color for the season is purple. So Maundy Thursday is Thursday. That represents, if you remember the story of Jesus, Thursday was the day where he sat with his disciples and had the Last Supper. When we typically, how many of you have ever been to the Seder meal that we've done at Easter? Nobody has been to the Seder meal. The Seder meal is basically a Christianized version of Passover that the Jews would celebrate. What Jesus would have celebrated on that Thursday with his disciples.
Wait,
So, yes. Jesus was celebrating Passover with his disciples and used that as the time to have the Last Supper with him on that Thursday. So one of the cool things that we do on Thursday, if we don't have the Seder meal, we typically have a Maundy Thursday service. And at the end of that service, we strip the altar. That's what we call it. All the vestments that we've talked about when we were talking about communion? All the cloth stuff that's on there, that's on the pulpit, the banners, we will literally take all of that down and remove it from the altar and take it away. Technically, there is no colors used until Easter. From Maundy, Thursday, at the end of Maundy, Thursday, till Easter, we don't use, there are no colors associated with that time. Technically. And what we do, we strip the garment. Like Jesus was stripped, right? On Thursday night after he was thrown in jail, they took all his stuff, right? And so, as a symbolic gesture towards that, we take down all of the vestments, all of the coloration within there and remove it. As if we're preparing Jesus for the tomb. Yes?
Why, it's kind of ironic that Moses is called Moses when he's always up on mountains.
Okay.
What?
Why?
How is that ironic?
Why is that ironic? I'm trying to figure.
Well, because like Moses, isn't that like meaning something about water?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And water's like really low and mountains are really high.
That is true.
What is that?
And
I mean, we're handling that.
so, go ahead back. So Good
That's
Friday,
been interesting.
Jesus died on Good Friday, right? Friday was the day that Jesus hung on the cross and died. We always have Good Friday service. If you've ever come to Good Friday service, it is one of my favorite services of the entire year. I know it sounds depressing. You're like, that's depressing. One, we call it Good Friday on the day Jesus died. Which some people look at there and like, why is it good?
Because it's the start of his resurrection.
Very good. Spencer is correct. It is, we consider it a good day because it is the day that Jesus dies for our sins. He sacrifices himself for us. So for us, it is the beginning of good. We here at Living Lord typically do have black banners and stuff that we use during that. We won't put anything on the altar. We don't do communion.
Oh, wait.
But it is a very somber service. And technically, here's the real kicker. None of the you know how at the end of all the services, like tonight, we do ascending
Yes, and
and that during Holy Week, starting with Monday, Thursday, we don't actually end any of the services.
oh, so
They
this,
just like stop. Like we are doing this stuff, and we do. We don't ever do ascending. We don't ever do any blessing or benediction to end it. We consider it one big service from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's one big worship service.
so good state for that Sunday.
So Good Friday, we do that. Saturday service, we typically here at Living Lord, we don't even use the sanctuary upstairs. We have a service down on Saturday. It is basically, it is not, we call it a worship service, but basically it's where we gather and we are just waiting for Jesus to return. It is a service, it is considered, called by some, a service of waiting, where we literally we sing some songs, sharing the word, but we are literally just waiting. We're not celebrating. It is a very, we usually do it down here in this space. We pull the curtains. It's very dark, just kind of candlelight, some very mellow music, because we're setting that tone that Jesus has died. We don't yet know that he has risen. So, we finally get to Easter. And part of the reason we don't have service up there on Saturday is because we've actually technically put all the stuff out. We put out all the flowers, we put out all the vestments and all that. So it's all ready.
So you don't show people that.
So we don't, so that's why we hang out down here. So Sunday is Easter, which the colors for Easter, of course, are white and gold. On Easter. Next slide. Easter includes Easter Sunday and the following 6 Sundays. Easter is an actual season. It includes the 6 weeks following Easter. Gold is typically for Easter Sunday and white following it. It is the longest time that we use white in the church. Because usually we use white for like single days, like Transfiguration Sunday, All Saints Day. We'll use it for like one day and then we'll swap it out. But for Easter, we use white for the entire time of Easter because we're celebrating. I mean, if you're going to have a party, you might as well celebrate. Next slide. So, I didn't even say this.
Oh,
The
Lord.
next season, write this down, after Easter is Pentecost.
Who said July 4th?
All together, what is the color of Pentecost?
Red.
Red.
It literally says fire, fire, fire.
Fire, fire, fire. So, this is a scene, a painting done to depict what happened at Pentecost. Does anybody know the story of Pentecost?
Oh yeah, people like, wasn't it the Holy Spirit?
Didn't he burn the tongues of people and then like?
You're so
And then
close.
they started speaking gibberish.
You're so close. Annalise?
Okay, Jesus came down and like flames, and then everybody could talk the same language or like understand everybody, and then so they spread the word of Jesus.
You are so
I saw
close.
you guys about that last year.
Okay.
They were in the building.
He came down,
Who? He?
the Holy Spirit.
The Holy Spirit.
I literally said it was the Holy Spirit. Bro, someone
He did.
Okay. I'm glad you know this right. So the Holy Spirit comes down among the disciples who are locked away, and they literally get these, it says tongues of fire come upon them, and they begin to speak gibberish. They go outside, and the people are like, dude, the disciples are drunk at 9 o'clock in the morning. And they're like, no, we're not drunk. We're actually speaking the languages so all the people can understand God's word. And then this begins their ministry to go out into the world. So on that day, on Pentecost Sunday, we use red. Now, next slide. The rest of Pentecost, we use green. We are currently have been in Pentecost. We just did a couple things to change because we were green. We've been green forever. We've been green for there's 27 weeks in Pentecost. It is half of the year is Pentecost.
Why is that?
That's the time. We talk about the light because we're going from the Jesus and being resurrected. And then we talk about Pentecost is the time we spend all the time talking about what Jesus did while he's on the earth. So there's a lot to cover. So we have all of Pentecost. We use green during Pentecost, and we call this time the ordinary times. That's literally what we call Pentecost. Anytime we use green, it is considered an ordinary time.
So it starts 6 weeks after Easter,
Yes.
all the way through till Advent.
All the way to Advent. We are in ordinary time. I am ordinary. Next slide. The last Sunday of the year, it's like right now we just swapped a bunch of colors because we went from we had Reformation, so we did red, and then we did this past weekend
All Saints.
we did
All Saints.
All Saints, which is white. And then we technically should go back to green. We'll go back to green for a couple weeks. And then, on the last Sunday of the year, which is the day...
Sunday before Thanksgiving, right?
Sunday before Thanksgiving, which is not this Sunday,
Wait, what's the date?
but the following Sunday.
But doesn't Advent isn't always the Sunday after Thanksgiving though, right? It just happens to be
When
Christmas
falls.
is, yeah.
Because Christmas is on a
Saturday.
Sunday
We're on a Saturday, I think.
or a Saturday.
I think we're on a
Christmas
Saturday.
Eve is on
I'm looking. Hold
I
on.
think Christmas Eve is on Friday.
Oh shoot.
So
I
it
buy
depends.
that.
Yeah, it depends when,
Yes.
when it falls. So, the last Sunday of the year is Christ the King Sunday. We use white. There's no reason why it's Christ the King Sunday. It is just the day that we celebrate in the year, the whole year, that Christ is our King. At the end of the year, we do that. Because we end talking about Jesus as being the King, and then we start talking about him coming as a baby, right? Really? This is a shocker. We spent all year talking about Jesus.
What?
not this past week, the week before, well, actually the 2 weeks we just covered, we just went through. Reformation Day, which we as Luke, that is specifically a Lutheran thing. No other churches celebrate Reformation Day like we do.
Why not this one?
Yes. Like, no, I mean like all Lutheran churches.
Martin
all,
Luther.
All Lutherans, ELCA, LCMS, WELS,
That's because we're cool.
What?
celebrate Reformation Sunday, which is typically the Sunday closest to the 31st. Then, the following Sunday is always All Saints Day. So those are 2 days that we celebrate different days in the year. I'm trying to think if there's any more. And I have gone through the entire year.
Dang.
Why did I do this,
No.
So us to learn about.
Cody?
So we know.
So you know things. So one that you'll notice, like if you see when you walk into church and you see that we're white, and that everything's white, you should know that this is probably a special Sunday. Right. If it's white or red, that's probably a good indication in your brain. You should be going, okay, something is special about this Sunday.
Or green.
Well, green is like Pentecost and the bulk of the time, ordinary time. So
Yo.
it is over half of the year. Hold on. Yes, we're after Christmas break. We are going to talk about Martin Luther and the Reformation. I will even show you I went when I was at my parents' in New Mexico. I found all of my pictures when I went to Germany 4 years ago to celebrate Reformation. So I literally have pictures of like where Martin Luther lived when he was a baby. Where Martin Luther nailed the 95 Theses on the wall. Where Martin Luther preached. Where here's the thing. Here's a weird thing. I'll let you know in advance. Did you know Martin Luther was born and died in the same town?
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Wait, did he like?
When he died, he didn't even live in that town.
Wait, you just said he died in.
He was born and he died in the exact same town called
So he was
Erfurt.
born.
Erfurt, Germany.
Did you say he didn't even live there?
No, he lived in another town. He was still living. His residency was in this town called Wittenberg, or Wittenberg, however you want to pronounce it. And that's where he taught, and that's where he lived. But because he was so famous, he would go around to lots of different churches and preach. And in this case, he was going to Erfurt because he was going there to teach. He was there to preach. He preached like 3 days in a row, and he ordained a number of priests. There were some new pastors that he ordained. Like said, okay, you've gone through all your training. You are now a pastor.
Well,
He died. Nobody knows exactly what he died of, but they suspected that as he was traveling across the road, because Martin Luther, his entire life was very, very sick. Like he had lots and lots of health issues and that. It is believed that he probably had a heart attack before he gets there. And he gets sick because he's traveling on the road, he has a heart attack. But he goes along and he continues to preach 3 times.
Wow.
And after he's had a heart attack, and he does the ordination of these pastors, and then eventually he dies there in Erfurt. Like, it's probably about 10 blocks from where he was born.
Did they find his body?
Yeah, I mean, it's like you can literally go inside the house that he died and see the bed where he died and all that.
Without his
So-
body? You see his body?
No.
Where's his body at?
So, that's all we got. And I want to get you guys small. What was your question? Last thing! Last thing! I need people to, 1, sign up for next week, and 2, if you're going to be here for Thanksgiving worship on that Wednesday,
Garrett,
which is
you're not gonna be here
Pop-Up
for
Day,
Thanksgiving.
Pastor Steve is looking for about 5 people, different
Hey,
people.
the 24th.
Oh, yeah, we saw.
The 20th. You told him you would do the 24th.
yeah, I said I did, but not on one.
Garrett. Garrett.
Oh.
Yo, toss us, you
I could go up.
Hey Garrett, we're not going to be here tonight.
Oh,
We're going to Florida. Visit my cousins.
Are you reading
We
it?
going upstairs?
I think we could go upstairs.
Cool. Let's go upstairs.
Why don't you, or we can stay here if no one's here.
You'll be here.
You're all last.
Where do you guys want to go? You guys want to go upstairs or in Houston?
Ah, two.
I took two.
Your email? You want me to email you?
No, I was just asking because I was there.
Okay. Oh, boys. Hi.
We're really cool. Yeah, I didn't break.
What?
I am.
Wait, what?
Bread.
No bread. There's no bread. If you would like another piece of candy, you can get another piece of candy. There is no bread. Where are you going, JC? Are you sure?
Oh no. Okay, cool.
There might be some stuff in the closet, like in the cupboards.
Guess what?
You were looking for stuff.
Yeah.
I forgot what the word was called, but I have this.
Ablution? You abluted? There is some peach burn. Also some Maggie straws. Have a seat. Don't be strangers.
In social studies, we're learning about the Israelites, and we just got done watching the movie, the Prince of Egypt.
How's the story work? Exodus. Which literally translates.
Exit.
I'm failing anyway.
Why?
That's
Is it because-
69%.
Are you trying any of it?
What?
Are you trying any of it? No.
But
Bro, might be like.
So it's not that it's too hard for you.
I have a 97% anyway.
Is it hard or is it you just are trying?
Feel like teacher. That's all right.
You don't feel like it?
no,
Okay.
no, the teacher's my bestie.
Your teacher is your bestie?
I played when I was in science. At a cost, I played rock, paper, scissors.
Maybe you should have been doing science in science.
Well, like all the teachers were outside talking about like all the boys and
Those
marriage
troublemaker boys.
and all that stuff.
So my brother this year is in 4th grade, and last year he had my ELA teacher, even though he's in 4th grade this year.
Okay.
So she moved up to 6th grade, so my lowest,
She's nice.
my lowest grade is gonna be,
One of them got all like 106.
yeah. 14, maybe wondering what the score is.
What'd you do?
I don't know about my kid. There's one around. Oh, well, yeah, I'm back to show. And like the fixing, and a raccoon underneath my show. I hate raccoons too. Yeah.
There should be a program running that looks like you can see the screen, like see us.
Oh, hi guys,
Can you see it?
my YouTube.
Oh,
hi, yeah.
Go ahead and where it says on the bottom, the right hand side, there should be a stop streaming. button.
Stop streaming?